Hi, it's Heather from Equifitt, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about why I do what I do. So a lot of people don't, unless you're coaching with me over Skype, don't always get the opportunity to see where I train or to meet me in person. So I was inspired recently by some motivational speakers and some work that I was doing to think about my business, because some of you know I've launched my new book, Fit to Ride, in 9 weeks with Trafalgar Square Books. And when you do something like that, it makes you think about how you're spending your time and where your priorities are. And I started to think about my business and about my clients and about what it is that pumps me up about, and I mean that. I don't just want to use a phrase that a lot of fitness trainers and a lot of kind of enthusiastic online coaches use, because I'm actually an introvert. But I thought about it and I thought, why do I do what I do? And in fitness and in athleticism, athletic training and rider fitness, there can be a bit of an emphasis, and especially in equestrian and publications, an emphasis on the highly competitive. But I used to work for our National Equestrian Federation, and I had access to all kinds of numbers on the equine industry. And you know, 80% of people that are out there working with horses are not highly competitive. They're your everyday person, and you're trying to do the best you can with what you have. And you're showing and competing, but they're more a benchmark for helping you, giving you a goal to train towards, which is really important. It's not so much about the competition as it is about what that benchmark says to you about your progress in your training. So most of the people, once in a while, I've had the opportunity to work with an Olympian or an ex-Olympian working on their fitness. In Canada, we don't tend to do a lot of name dropping, and they prefer it that way, so I don't drop the names. And I've had the opportunity to work alongside very advanced trainers who were giving clinics, and I was working with the people participating in the clinic on their fitness and conditioning and posture and body usage on the side. So they'd have their riding lesson with Stephen Peters or with other clinicians, and then work with me in between. But that's really rare. Most of the people that I work with are everyday people. They're people with fibromyalgia, with injuries, with joint replacement, people that are very keen about riding, who went away from it for a bit, maybe to raise kids, put them through college, and finally get to a time when they have time in their life to invest in something that they've always loved. And so now they're riding at 50-something, maybe even 60-something, late 40s, getting back into it. And most of us never had the opportunity to become a junior young rider. Most of us never had the opportunity to ride a schoolmaster. Some of us did, but we're doing the best we can with what we have. And some of us are very athletic. So generally in fitness marketing appeals to people that are already, it's preaching to the choir, it appeals to people that are already into fitness to a certain degree. But for the everyday person, some of that can be a little bit intimidating. So I wanted to find a way to tell you that whoever you are, whether you have intensive scoliosis, or you had your hip replaced, or you're 63 and you're finally buying your first horse, or you've had a very competitive career and you know that you're not going to compete like you used to, but you still want to do the best you can for yourself, for the horses that you work with, for the people that you work with. That's the kind of people I work with. So it's very exciting, because I've discovered that there is really an industry around everything. There's an industry around fitness, there's an industry around horses, and it certainly works for some people's business model to upsell you a horse, and there comes a time when, to reach certain goals, you may need to do that. Same with saddlery. You do need to have a saddle that fits the horse well. But the biggest factor affecting our horses is ourselves. So if there's a lot of chiropractic and a lot of body treatment going on for your horse and a lot of examining of the saddle, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing in the saddle? Because what I'm doing in the saddle is the thing that affects my horse the most. I always found personally, my horse, who I was training to some Prix Saint-Georges movements, he would do piaffe and passage, he would do so many things when I long-lined him that we just didn't get that well in the saddle, and it was me. It wasn't him. He could do it. So when you think about that, it sounds like it costs to do some work with a personal trainer, with myself or somebody else, but it's really worth it. It's a little bit like, I don't know, buying a product that can extend the length of a mileage you can get out of your car or something like that. It's it's kind of compounding the interest on an investment that you have, because you're already paying for riding instruction, you're already paying for the horse, and you're putting so much energy into it. There's that little extra percent that can get you back so much more. And that's why I do what I do. And I do it also because I was a 13-year-old girl that wanted to go to the Olympics, and my family didn't have money. And I did what I could, and there was a time in my life when I couldn't even ride. I didn't even have access to horses myself. And in some way, I feel that I've been able to tap into that dream by working with other people who did go to World Games and Olympics. And I no longer have that goal. My goal now is I'd like to ride a credible Prix Saint-Georges or Grand Prix test. I think I could do it at some point in my life, but I'm going to be an older adult doing it, and I'm so grateful this is a sport where you can stick with it for a long time in your life, so that the investments that you make don't go away. It's a little bit like ballroom dance or golf or cross-country skiing. You can practice it until quite elderly, and very grateful for that. But that was me, and so when I help you or another client reach your dream, to me, I no longer see the name of the competition or the value that we place in society on certain competitive levels. You know, when we look at it, the Olympics even is really about inspiring people to live and to be all you can be and to have dreams and to go for them. So when the Olympic Committee markets any Olympic athlete or the Olympics itself, it's not about the Olympics itself. It's about the dream that it represents. It's about the capacity that it's kind of this high level of standard to inspire you to have a big dream, whatever your big dream is. So when I help a rider ride a level 1 dressage test better and score better than they did before, it's not about the competition. It's about them being their very best and reaching more harmony with the horse and doing something that was important to them. When I help a rider, I'm working with a rider right now. She's a very competitive professional show jumper. She jumps things higher than my head, and I would be very scared to do that. But I get to participate in it because she's doing it, and she's doing it better because of the work that we're doing. And she's not only doing it better, but she's avoiding the kind of long-term injuries which I've seen quite often in people that do what she does a decade down the road from where she's at, because they didn't take care of their bodies. So she is investing in herself in a way that's going to let her enjoy her sport and do well professionally at what she's doing for a lot longer in her life. And she's having fun. She feels great. And so each time I get to work with you or another client and helping you reach your dreams, whether they're jumping or dressage or riding in the backyard or going on a vacation where you trek across the country on a short pony, it doesn't really matter what it is that you're doing, but you need to have a dream and you need to have a goal, and you need to know that you have more in you than you're tapping into. That's the important thing. Is I've worked with riders with disabilities, and I've interviewed para-equestrians. I interviewed Lauren Barwick after she won the gold medal. And you know, one thing she said to me, she said, after the medal, then what? So it's not really the goal even in itself. So she does motivational speaking and training, and she's very wise about that. So we always need to have another goal ahead of us. And it's not to push us down, it's to lift you up. And when you're being your best and you're doing your best with what you have, you can also be more sensitive to your horse and training your horse. Because we don't ride to break down the horse, we ride to improve the horse. We ride because we believe that a rider sitting on a horse, helping a horse learn exercises, is therapeutic for the horse as well, and it helps the horse have a quality of life that he wouldn't have in the wild. Particularly dressage type of movements, when at their very best and most ideal, they gymnasticize the horse and they help him be balanced as well and have a quality of life when it's not breaking him down. So by riding better, you're being a better therapist to your horse as well, and having a better time of it and recovering from injury and keeping that thing that's so important to you in your life. And that's really important. And that's why I do what I do at Equifitt. So don't look at the launch of the new book or some of the things on my website, which are all true. Don't look at those and feel intimidated. Believe in yourself and give yourself the opportunity to be your best self. That's what I wanted to say.